One of the early experiences I had when I came here was to be in the supermarket with my wife and hear a little voice saying, you know, Pastor Craig, and I turned around and this little boy comes dragging his mother by the hand and said, Mom, I want you to meet Pastor Craig. He comes to our school all the time. And I was very touched by the fact that it had impacted this young person from out of the community in this way, and created this spontaneous contact that registered the fact that we'd been making a difference.
Every Tuesday, we come for a classroom worship. And in every classroom on this campus, there is a pastor or leader in that classroom giving a worship, connecting with the kids, being a visible presence.
The students don't just see the pastor Sabbath morning. You know, they see all the pastors during the worships. They will see them during the activities, the dramas. They'll see the pastors during the games that we have. And I think that's, in essence, really their commitment to the kids that is seen.
Just seeing them come to the school and having them pray with us and having that involvement is really important. They're just not some other entity off at the church. They come to the campus and they pray for me. I can go and have personal meetings with them and, you know, talk about my concerns and my struggles, and I just feel like they're there for me.
Well, I hung out with Pastor Roy. He took me tubing and he sat around the campfire with me and laughed at little jokes here and there, and he was my friend, and I think that's why I started falling in love with Jesus. This Jesus he talked about almost casually because it was comfortable, and many other, Pastor Jim, Pastor Klatt, you know, these are just some of the many people that bombarded my life with amazing, casual yet significant interactions with God. If I look back, they're huge and significant. It's something that'll never be replaced. I have these interactions that I continue to use. I continue to be excited about a God that can help me in my everyday life.
I went to one of our pastors, our youth pastors, and I said, you know, my 8th grade class has a slew of questions. Would you be willing to come into my class and answer their questions? He said, sure. What kinds of things are they asking about? I said, well, things like drugs, homosexuality, magic, you know, things that are pretty tough subjects that kids are thinking about right now. And so the very next Tuesday, he had a Bible study ready. And he just connected with those kids, answered their questions in a way that I could never have done it. I just stood there praising God, saying, thank you, Lord, for the connection that we have with our church, where we can use them as a resource to help our kids.
They're very supportive of the teachers. They're here to talk with us, share with us, make sure that everything is going well in our life.
I feel like a large part of my job is keeping the faculty and staff feeling safe. I have deliberately chosen, for instance, to write each of them a note at least twice a year, very specifically identifying things that I appreciate about them and the way I feel that they're making a difference, in order that the effect will be quality teaching and teachers with a peace of mind in their hearts knowing that they are supported.
Pastor Klatt would stop by every now and then to hold out worship sessions, and it was really great to see your pastor up there with you. To me, it meant that my pastor genuinely cared and that the school and church were actively trying to work together.
I really enjoy the pastors coming. They're great. They tell amazing stories. I think it's taught me a lot about God and how much He loves us.
I was involved with a mission trip, and to actually see the pastors involved with our students in the building of the church, just to see the pastors working out there, sweating and whatever duties they had to do. It seemed to have bonded the students with the pastors.
I think that to make it more than just a part of the job description and be open to really making personal connections, getting to know the children by name, being able to then acknowledge parents and other relatives off campus when you meet them, to show that you're seriously interested and not just doing it in a manipulative way at all, but to do it in a way that registers genuine concern and care and appreciation for who they are and what they mean to us.
There were many field trips where the pastors drove the cars. They were chaperones, you know. They don't have to do that, but they did, and they made time for us, and they were our friends. And I can remember many situations and many things I learned that were practical beyond the doors of church. They were out being disciples.
One of the largest ways that Adventist schools are supported is finances. We receive subsidies, financial subsidies that allow us to be open. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Tuition no longer just covers the cost of Adventist education.
We have made that essentially our highest priority, that every child that wants to will go to school here. We have just put our neck out there just as far as it can go in making it our highest single budgetary item. But we feel like it's money well spent, and if we don't do anything else, we'll have accomplished our purpose for being.
I see these churches supporting our school and seeing it not as a monthly bill, but as a monthly blessing, a monthly investment.
We have the philosophy that we will do our level best. Any student who wants to be here at this Christian school, we will do whatever we can to try to get them here. And we work together as churches and the principal to put together some kind of package. And so we have a very active tuition assistance program to ensure that those who want to be here can be here.
When we lose sight that that school is ministering to our children, we lose sight of the way we fund it, because we stop thinking about the need of the child, and it starts becoming a third of our budget, a fourth of our budget, a half of our budget. And we start thinking about what else we might do with those dollars. I think as we cooperate and talk to one another and begin to really understand the value of the education that's in the classroom and the value of what goes on in the church, and we truly support those things together, funding becomes easier.
I had the privilege about 4 years ago of having a high school student that worked 2 years for me in my classroom, and he would be in my room for about 2 hours each morning. And he was one of those students that didn't fit in probably as well as most of the other kids, and a lot of it was his choice. He was kind of a loner. And I can remember his junior year, he was telling me that he thought he was going to be going to public school because his scholarship had run out. Sorry, I'm going to get choked up. And I told him, well, you know what, that's okay. You know, you've learned a lot here and you're going to do fine. And I said, but you know, we'll just keep praying that that will happen for you. And he came in about a month later and he said, Mrs. Sutton, he said, it's the best day of my life. And I said, really? I said, why is that? He said, someone from church came forward and sponsored me for my senior year. And he was so happy about that. And he told me, he said, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna get my degree and make money so I can do this for other kids. And I just thought that was really beautiful that he was that touched that people at the church would care enough about him so he could finish here.
It was in 2006. My daughter Chelsea was struggling with dyslexia, and we were bouncing around from different schools and trying to to find one that was able to work with her. And she was in a small private school here locally, and they played a volleyball game here at El Dorado Adventist. And we showed up for the volleyball game, and I'd never been here on campus. And when we were walking through the parking lot, I just felt the presence of God, and God speaking to my heart saying, this is where your children need to be. El Dorado Adventist is probably one of the biggest blessings in my family's lives. Just the influence and the impact that the school has had, the principal, the faculty, the student body has just been amazing. I've never seen so much love and compassion for one another, and just the standard that they hold morally was probably the biggest impact on me and what I wanted to see for my children. That led us to start attending Placerville Adventist Church, and then it was 2010 that we decided to become members of the church.
Here at the school, my personal philosophy is that I'm very open to non-members, to people coming of other faiths coming to the school. I have always found that it's a blessing because it brings in another dynamic, and I've encouraged my teachers to be open and accepting. You want your school to be uniquely Seventh-day Adventist? Well, I think it is, and I think that that's a mission of our church, and our school is the main, I think, evangelistic tool for our church, at least in this community. And so we have had people come and put their kids in school here, and then they start coming to church, right? They come to church because their kids make friends here, and then they come to the programs, the music programs, the cantatas. And we've watched people join our church, and it all started here at the school.
I think the ministry of the Adventist Church is not only in the church building, but in schools. And I have seen and borne witness to the fact that education is such a ministry with young people's lives. There's the opportunity for young people to not only be in a safe place, but to be taught by people who have made it their mission to teach in Adventist schools. Education is a mission field that supports the mission of the church.
Before high school, my mom calls it church shopping. Our family was kind of looking around for a church we wanted to find a home at, and we discovered Seventh-day Adventist Church in Camino, and we went there and we found out that they had an academy. Coming to El Dorado Adventist really changed my life because the people were different. They all genuinely cared, and they're friendly. And going to Camino Seventh-day Adventist Church just continued that kind of attitude. During my high school years, the church and the school both really nurtured me by being there for me in any way that I needed, specifically financially in my story. They worked together to make sure that my tuition needs were met, and they really just made sure that I was able to attend El Dorado Adventist. And it was really refreshing and exciting because I loved being around people that genuinely cared about me and they wanted me to succeed. And that influenced me spiritually, and one day I decided I wanted to become an Adventist too. And I was baptized at Camino Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I can attribute that to El Dorado Adventist School and being around those kind of people. I decided then to come to PUC because I wanted to continue with that great education, and the small class size is always a great thing to look forward to because you get to know your teachers really intimately. And they have the same attitude as the teachers back in high school. They care, and they have a great science program for what I want to do, which is veterinary medicine. And I'm thankful for how this has all led me to where I am right now.